3 tailgate. And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Danny Kanell. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, aka the Cover 3 tailgate, where at 8:59 a.m. And here's the deal, because we're doing things a little bit different on this Monday. A few news items to discuss, some conversation points around them, probably more than anything. We are going to continue to roll through the mailbag because we were dark horse and hard, okay? And we haven't gotten to the chalk donkeys. Danny will tell you about chalk donkeys soon. But Ian at 8:59 a.m. pulled up into the tailgate and said, can we get Danny's dark horses for the Power 4 conferences and the Group of 5? He also adds, if Wisconsin wins this lawsuit, it would be open to every school suing each other. More on that, the Wisconsin-Miami lawsuit here in just a little bit. So DK, do you want to put that on the back burner, and by the end of the show, we'll let dark horses fly, or do you think you could do it right off the dome?
I think I could probably do it, but I don't know if it would do it justice.
Okay.
I told you guys the story. I texted you guys. It was funny. I was at the Westchester White Plains Airport on Thursday morning, and I was picking up my buddy about 10 a.m., and we were going straight to the golf course to Wingfoot for the member guest, which I took part of. And this guy comes up to me and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "look what I'm listening to." And he had the Dark Horse pod fired up. He was listening to it, and I was like, "Oh," I said that. He goes, "I'm listening to you guys right now. I'm a big fan of the pod." I said, "Oh, that's awesome." And I said, "But I'm not on it." He goes, I know. He said, "It's not the same." And I was like, "That's right. It's not the same." He said he's a huge fan of the pod. I did not get his name, which ticks me off because I didn't get his name. We took a little photo, but it was awesome just to be randomly walking around. And it was kind of funny because I said, "Who's your team?" If you see somebody listen to Cover 3, usually it's like, I'm a Bulldog or I'm a Bama or I'm Florida State or whatever school, Illinois. And he goes, "I just love college football," which I thought was really interesting.
He's
like, "I just love college football." I was like, yes. I was like, that was pretty cool. So shout out to him that was there. So I need a little bit of time, and then I'll get you some dark horses. And the criteria was, how far deep did you have to go in the odds?
Typically, you just...
It's not like in that first tier.
Yeah, not the first group of pricing, which might be 3 teams, might be about 4 teams. Wherever you start to take a step down, that's where it'll be. So
I like our unknown soldier who's just like, I just root for the game.
Right? I feel like I'm becoming that kind of fan, though, just from the way that we watch and cover this sport. And when I do meet someone like that, that's because somebody goes to a small school that didn't have a big football program. That's the kind of fan that I think you end up finding in that situation. White Plains Airport, which 2 terminals, right? Essentially.
One. I mean, it felt like one. It was tiny. It was hard to take a picture because it was so crowded. Everybody was coming in, and there was a line at the rental car place there. I will say this, after watching the U.S. Open and how hard it was, and it's such a hard course, I was pretty adamant that I would break 100 at Oakmont. After 3 days of playing golf at Wingfoot, which is another just monster of a course. They had the massacre there in 73 or 74 when the winner was +6. I might, if the over-under was 94 or something before, I might bump it up a little bit after struggling on the greens. I went through 3 putters. I mean, it was brutal. I actually hit the ball really good. The greens were rolling between 13 and 14. It was insane. I never felt comfortable over any putt. It could be 2 feet. I was like, oh gosh, I could 3-putt this or 4 jacket. It was brutal, but it was a blast.
I feel like for regular ass golfers, that would be the biggest difference at those courses. Unless the rough is they're doing Oakmont where it's 7 feet high and you just don't know, you've never hit a ball out of it before. But the greens, because where I play regularly, there are some difficult greens, but they're not like what you're getting at these courses. So I think that would be the thing. It'd be like a 3, 4, 5 putt clinic all freaking day.
I almost fought my caddy too because he was like, he's like, you might want to shorten your putting stroke a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm supposed to do. All right.
No, what I need you to
blasted by him.
Yeah, what I need you to do right now is tell me that the bailout is left. Yeah. And that even though this is like 130 on the cart, that like how I should play this.
Yes.
Can't one last little bit of personal fun to celebrate here. DK, we're gonna get to know the Coastal Athletic Association CAA volleyball. Ain't got nothing for what we got coming up. I know that your daughter made the social media announcement. You want to tell the cover?
Yeah. So we got
drafting Elon as our new squad.
Yeah, we have a crystal ball prediction, which has now been confirmed that she's going to head to Elon, North Carolina, where she's going to play volleyball for Elon. They have a new coach, Tony Trisciani, the football coach, actually reached out to me and he said, I'm fired up. He's like, bring your sticks when you come up there. We're going to go up out in the summer, but I'm fired up. Beautiful campus. They got a lot coming up, like through the pipeline. Like they're looking to grow and really cement the athletic program. So I'm fired up, man. It's nice to have that off the plate as far as a stressor, part of where's she going, and to have the opportunity to get a scholarship to go there. It's pretty awesome. So we're really fired up for her.
And this will be for the 26. Like this will be next
she's
summer.
Class of 26. Yeah, we got a while to go.
No.
Yeah.
But to your point,
think you deserve a new putter for this.
Yeah,
I do too. I do. And my daughter thinks she needs a new car for this, which I'm like, whoa. I did tell her, like, she actually texted me. She said, now I get my dream car, right? Because I've been telling all my girls, this is what my dad told me. He said, if you get a scholarship, I'll get you a car because you think about the cost and like you're saving so much money. And so that was like one of the first things. And I was like, really? I said that. And she said, since I was 8, like she knew the exact moment. So well, we're waiting until enrollment. Like we're not getting it this early. We're waiting until you enroll.
And also make her. I know that there were other public schools on the board. Make her use whatever was like the lowest value. Don't use the Elon out of state enrollment as the dollar value you get to spend on the car. That's not fair.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
She's gonna be asking for a Lambo truck. Some of these colleges.
That's awesome stuff. Good things ahead for Elon volleyball, and I'll be excited to see. Are you going to be a PTI guy? Are you going to fly into the Greensboro Regional? Are you going to go RDU and then drive?
Probably flight options. See which one's best availability. But it is pretty convenient. It's pretty nice to have 2 airports like that. Elon sits right in the middle, so that'll be nice.
Yeah. Very, 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 very much so. All right, a little bit to get to here. Let's start with the happy stuff, the stuff that we can wrap our eyes and arms around because it's going to be right here in house. The Pac-12 has announced a new media rights deal. It is going to be with us, CBS. CBS will be the primary media rights partner for football and men's basketball. That's going to include the football championship on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. That's going to be the final of the men's basketball conference tournament. And there are, if you're listening to this, like, okay, so who is that? Is that just Oregon and Washington State playing, 12 times a year? No. A reminder that during last fall in the football season, some big landscape shifting moves were made. So in 2026, next year, when this deal begins, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Utah State for football, and Gonzaga in all non-football sports will be joining the Pac-12. The Pac-12 is also planning to add another member. So I guess as we start to look at this, the Pac-12 believes that they have put together, based on the teams that they have and the idea that they're adding one more, a top 5 football conference. DK, a lot of postseason appearances, some postseason success, a college football playoff berth. San Diego State made it to the men's basketball national championship game. What does the Pac-12 look like to you as we start to think about where it fits in college football in 2026 and beyond?
What does it look like? To me, I would say it looks awfully familiar to a conference that CBS Sports has had a deal with already in place. And it looks awful familiar to the Mountain West because of a lot of those teams that are going there. Look, I think we could all be company men and, try to pump this up and say, watch out, here comes the Power 5 coming back. But it should be strong. I mean, it's a group of 5 conference, and I don't know how they're going to rebrand or name that. I did think it was interesting because I think they're trying to push to be a power conference, and with the brands and the schools that are in there, I just don't see it, but I do think they should be thrilled to have the opportunity to still have access to the playoff, to have the opportunity to compete for championships, to find a home for Oregon State and Washington State, to join a conference where they're not on their own as the Pac-12. But it really does feel like it almost feels like it should be called the Mountain West rebranded, but you've got better brand awareness with the Pac-12, which is, I think, why they went with that name. And I think it's awesome. Like, I think it's great. It's good for our company. We're getting more inventory, something that's not a lot out there. But yeah, so I feel like I think it's a great position they're in, but I still don't view them as a power conference, even though I think they're going to really try to make that push.
Call me a company man if you like, but just hang with me for a minute.
I'm ready.
Is it not time to ask the question of whether the Pac-12 is better than the Big 12? Is it not time to wonder if the Pac-12 is the Power 4? Because think about this for a moment. One conference lost its best programs and then took schools from the Pac-12 and Group of 5 conferences to reunite. That was the Big 12. So is the Pac-12. They lost their big schools and then took schools from the Mountain West and the Pac-12 group to reunite. So really, at the end of the day, what's the difference? They're the same leagues. The Pac-12 and the Big 12 are fighting for that fourth league supremacy.
All right. Here's some company, Carl. How about 6 of the 7 programs have ranked among the AP top 25 over the collection of the last couple of seasons? Boise State, obviously, up there, the number 3 overall seed. The league went through and combed FPI, which, famously dislikes the Group of 5 programs, and says that even with that slight, the future Pac-12 had the 5th highest average FPI among all conferences. You go to men's basketball, they had the 4th best average net ranking among all conferences, and 7 of the 8 men's basketball teams have made the NCAA tournament since 2021. So I think what they are arguing is, if you're going to call it the Power 5, we're 5th. And I think with this group, again, call me a company man, I think that that's a good argument that they are stepping into being in that position, looking stronger than the American Athletic Conference, as they are going to be welcoming the most consistent and highest ceiling programs from the Mountain West. So we will be excited about that.
I mean, who do you got, Boise State or Cincinnati?
Boise State.
There you go. See, bam. Pac-12's better.
Like currently at the current time, but over the past 10 years, would you still take
any day, any time, any hour?
No.
Boise State better than Cincinnati.
And there's going
both
to be
have been to a playoff,
right?
Okay.
One was able to keep their coach after getting there. The other got theirs poached because one was in a power league while the other wasn't.
Okay, this is an amazing bit. Now we're gonna have to go team for team. Pac-12 versus the Big 12, the Dirty Dozen, the showdown here on Cover 3 podcast.
I mean, with this deal, I'm keeping eyes out. I think it hasn't been announced yet, but we are going to Las Vegas for the Big 10 media days. We have to keep an eye out for the Pac-12 media days, where this is going to be, held. I'm Vegas. We could just do 2 weeks there.
Let's do it
if we have to.
My wife would be thrilled.
Yes. I mean, okay. Last piece here. This is important because why is this important? Because now they can actually take numbers as they try to add another school. They need to add another football playing member to get to 8 teams for the 2026 season. And that probably needs to happen in the next week or so. Getting this deal done means that and there are lots of reported candidates. Now they can go to those candidates and say, we have a media rights deal. They have told us it will give us this kind of payout. Does that make sense to you? So keep an eye out. We could see another football playing member added to the league, another all sports member added to the league in the Pac-12 moving forward here in the next couple of weeks. Coming up on the other side, you thought that tampering had gotten crazy in the new era. Well, how about one school suing another school with the blessing of a power conference? All that and more next.
The clock never stops. Relive the greatest moments with uninterrupted highlights and more. It's Gareth Bale! Wonderful goal! On the UEFA Champions League channel. Streaming free.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast. Well, on Friday, we found out that the University of Wisconsin filed a lawsuit alleging that the Miami football team broke the law. by tampering with Xavier Lucas. Now, in the lawsuit, he is referred to as student athlete A, but this is a story that has been reported on and discussed for a long time as Xavier Lucas got out of his deal with Wisconsin, and he is going to be a part of the Miami football team. I wish, obviously, we had Bud for all of the billable hours here. So what about the discussion part of this? Raymond said in the tailgate, it would be good for college football if Wisconsin wins the suit. Not sure if they will, though. DK, do you think it would be good for college football if Wisconsin wins the suit?
Probably. I think most coaches out there that are anti-tampering and are tired of having players poached from their roster are rooting for Wisconsin. Like, if you like stability, if you like players' movement restricted, then yeah, I think you should probably be rooting for Wisconsin. Now, your chances of winning, I don't know how great those are. Like, even in the NBA and NFL, there are rules in place in Major League Baseball about tampering. But when was the last time you ever saw anybody punished or sued because of it? And yet, on the first day of isn't it called the pre-tampering period?
It's a legal tampering period.
Where there's deals announced like at 12:01 midnight. Like, so it takes
we can't announce it for another 5 days.
Right, which is really stupid. So I don't know. Like, but in theory, yes, I think it would be good if we could prevent players from being poached. But then, like, does that prevent, like, your agent could still talk to people? I mean, we've seen this happen with coaches all the time. I just don't know what merits they have to stand on in a court of law.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer, but my theory is 95% of the law is vibes. And my vibe is basically that I don't know how Wisconsin can win this, because unless he was signed to a contract
with the school,
I don't know what you can win. And I don't know if Wisconsin's goal is to win the lawsuit. I think tinfoil hat. All right, you ready for this one?
Of course.
Wisconsin is in the Big Ten. The Big Ten is publicly supporting their lawsuit. Miami's in the ACC. One of these conferences has far more money than the other. One of these conferences and one of these schools might just be not going into this lawsuit thinking they can win it, but might be going into this lawsuit forcing Miami to pay for lawyers and just kind of bleed them a little bit and then break them and then be like, hey, you know what? You guys look like you're in debt. How about we give you a half share in the Big Ten for a while and let you work your way back out of it?
Oh, are you saying that this is step one to getting Miami in the Big Ten?
Step one.
That's ridiculous. That's not happening.
No, it's not. No, it's not, Chip. We're playing chess here. The Big Ten is an academic institution. Only smart people can get into these schools. It's not like the ACC or the SEC or the Big 12 or the Pac-12. We have smart people working for us.
The Big Ten did say in a statement that it supports Wisconsin's decision to file. I had amazing
financially supports Wisconsin's decision to file.
I had a great sort of image of going to ask the Don permission to do this, you know, like on the day of Tony Petitti's daughter's wedding, you had to go and you had to ask for permission to go and file a lawsuit against Miami. The most NIL deals, because of the way that NIL has been constructed, go out of their way to say the school is not paying the player. And in doing that, I just don't know how you're able to tie this all together in a way that would lead to a legal victory.
Wasn't this, so I think there's one thing that's unique about this. This isn't an NIL deal. This was a house settle. This was like before, and this is what makes it all kind of murky, is that this was one of the first deals that was kind of forward thinking, assuming that the house settlement was going to get done. So the money's coming from Wisconsin's, the university, not from the NIL, which is why they're suing in this one. But the house settlement didn't even get approved until a month ago. Right. Like, so it's really like convoluted. There's a lot of issues here where I just don't think they have much of a leg to stand on.
Not every lawsuit is filed with the intention to win the lawsuit.
That is true.
Sometimes you're just trying to F the other person over for a bit.
Or just scare people into scare tactic for just the
do it again and we'll sue again. And it's going to cost you another however many million. That's really what's going on here.
One of the beautiful pieces of irony is that Wisconsin just got put on probation for too many phone calls. Like, they had too many phone calls and they're out there probably thinking, what the heck? Screw it. Let's go forward with the lawsuit. They're tampering with us. We got probation for calling kids too many times.
The 20th minute of the show is maybe a little too early to get reckless, but we're kind of digging in the mailbag here. I am getting Pruitt era vibes from what's happening at Wisconsin. Like you mentioned the texting, like it's just, you get little things, they're just stacking on top of each other and they're not winning enough on the field either. You can kind of sense that there's not a lot of good positive momentum. I don't know if the bounce back is there. We spent all that time looking at, can Wisconsin bounce back? And you look at the team and you look at the schedule and we had our doubts. Those nonsense. When do those NCAA violations even get reported? Only at a time when usually you button that up, make sure that doesn't end up coming out. I'm not loving things for the Badgers right now.
It feels a little maybe more like Scott Frost, Nebraska vibes.
Which I have so much
more.
They
self-reported those, those violations. Wisconsin self-reported these, maybe.
I have so much more confidence in Luke Fickell behind the scenes.
Well, I mean, Jeremy Pruitt wasn't exactly strong either.
Sure,
I know. That was a disaster. I think we all like Fickell better than either one of those coaches and felt better about the hire. But my goodness,
I think it's a different situation with Fickell at Madison right now. Not to say that I wouldn't recommend winning as many games as possible in 2025, but I don't think we're at that point.
Okay. Good. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anything does end up coming of it. Just a Wisconsin sues Miami, flashing across your desk on a Friday. Not exactly what you always go to expect. All right, let's dig into the tailgate. Our friend Brad, 9:33 a.m. Eastern time, read the first 50 pages of the Phil Steele preview over the weekend. And some teams we might really be overlooking are Cincinnati and Minnesota. What does everybody think about those two teams?
We talked about Cincinnati a bit as a dark horse in the Big 12 because we like Brendan Sorsby. I thought that team was pretty respectable last year and it was getting better towards the end of the year. I don't know if I'd say we're overlooking them. If I'm trying to handicap the Big 12, I still don't think Cincinnati is as likely as many other schools in that league. And as for Minnesota's overlooked every year, and Minnesota's going to win 8 or 9 games. But there's very much a cap as to what Minnesota can be because of the style of play that they have and also because of just the talent that they have on the roster. But they're also replacing a few guys on the offensive line. And I think for a lot of programs, that's more important than others. And Minnesota is not a 4 or 5 star offensive lineman recruiting program. They develop them. So when they lose guys, you're typically going to see a fall off. So Minnesota will be there in the bowl hunt, but I don't really think you can expect much more of
that. I would feel better about Minnesota because I'm more confident that you're going to get what you've seen from PJ Fleck historically, which is what Tom's talking about. Like in the hunt, they could upside maybe get 9 wins. But they're probably worst case going to be 7 wins. Like they're going to be in that mix. Cincinnati, I'm a little bit more worried about. I know they took a step forward, and I like Brendan Sorsby a lot too. But the Satterfield era, I just wonder how long it is at Cincinnati. I think this is a big year for them to take a leap forward, and I just don't know if they're going to get it.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say, what amuses me about Minnesota is, like, you think of the way we talk about Iowa as far as the offensive philosophy. That's what Minnesota is. Like the way we discuss Iowa, like at least Iowa's going to a different offense and they're trying different things. Minnesota is like that old school Big Ten West. We're just going to run the ball on first, second, third down and see how it goes.
Would your mind be changed at all about the Golden Gophers if you were reminded that it is quite possible their starting center is named Ashton Beers?
Yeah, and his brother was what's his name, wasn't it?
I was just looking up to see if it was Rowdy Beers.
Yeah, I think he's related to Rowdy Beers. I could be wrong on that, but I thought he was.
He's the son of Jeff and Jackie Beers. Old Jackie Beers, she can tear up a mahjong table. And he has 4 siblings: Andrew, Alex, Allie, and Amaya. So Andrew, Alex, Allie, and Amaya, and Ashton Beers, the 5 ABs of.
Doesn't sound like Rowdy's related then. Maybe he's.
It doesn't sound like Rowdy's related, from Slinger, Wisconsin. So Ashton Beers could be the difference maker there. The other piece that I was looking at, because shout out to our guy Phil Steele. We got Drake Lindsay coming in potentially as the quarterback, a redshirt freshman. They've also got Emmett Moorhead, who was with Boston College for a little bit. And then also, does losing Corey Heatherman matter? right? Miami's super, super excited about getting in Corey Heatherman from Minnesota to be the Hurricanes' new defensive coordinator and hopefully fix what was just an absolute anchor on one of the best offensive seasons in school history. So does losing him make a difference for the Gophers? I don't know yet. Tom, do you think that it's just the program standard is going to be able to maintain? They lost Joe Ross. They've lost defensive coordinators in this tenure. And PJ Fleck, even though he's an offensive-minded coach, he's stuck to the DNA that has playing good defense as the other side of an old-school run game.
I think that they will probably suffer a little bit on the offensive line, but I think that they still have very good running backs, and I think that they just have kind of a culture and identity to the way they do things. So there's just a certain level of competency that I expect. Side note, would you be shocked if I told you I've been to Slinger, Wisconsin?
Give us a review. Give us a review.
I've been to Slinger Speedway. It is a racetrack in Slinger. It's not that far outside of Milwaukee, but back when I was younger and my dad and his buddy were in the racing circuit, I would go with them. I've been to Slinger, Wisconsin. Nice racetrack.
So how far is that from you?
From where I am right now, probably like 70 minutes.
Oh, nice.
It's not that far outside of Milwaukee.
Got it. Good stuff. So yeah, Brad, we appreciate you listening. Appreciate you jumping in. This is a question from Bear Talks Ball. He said, if Memphis does join the Pac-12 for football only, what are the next 4 teams you could see joining? And is Sacramento State a real long-term option? Looks like Bear Talks Ball. My understanding of the talks around Memphis is that Memphis might not be a part of an expansion plan for next year. That putting together a hybrid football in the Pac-12, everything else in the Big East, that's at least a couple years away. So I would not say that would be the addition to take them to 8 football members. I think that would be someone else if we get that in the next couple weeks.
I do not believe Memphis shares my opinion that the Pac-12 is better than the Big 12.
No.
And I think Memphis is preferred. If Memphis leaves the American, I think they want to do it for a P4 league.
Are we RIP Fred Smith?
RIP Fred Smith.
RIP Fred Smith. We'll see if the rest of the family or did he leave a lot of money to the football program?
A little early to ask that, Chip. Jesus, show some respect.
I said RIP. Doesn't saying RIP mean that you can say whatever you want after that?
It doesn't mean let it rip. No, it means rest in peace.
With all due respect, it makes you sound like a really
I said with all due
disrespectful.
It's like anything you say before the word but doesn't matter. That's what all due respect means. All due respect, you suck and I hate you.
And this is similar conversation before we hit a break and then actually jump into the 5-star big old bag of mail. College football tradition participated in the conversation. He said Tulane, Memphis, and USF appear to be holding out. Will they regret it? So I think that we haven't seen a lot of movement. We haven't seen a lot of interest. I know there was a round of expansion where, they even just said, no, we're good. We're good. They make, I think, reportedly about $11 million per school in the American Athletic Conference. So avoid the West Coast.
I had heard Memphis, but these other ones, aren't they long for the Big 12 as opposed to the Pac-12? Just regional seems like where they've had their eyes set. If they're going to move, it's going to be the Big 12.
Yeah, I think when it comes to those schools that we've named there, I don't know if the money difference is enough to then justify sending your volleyball team to Fresno. I think that costs kind of counter affects the money, maybe, and I don't even know if they're making that much more. So I know there's been the talk of Memphis joining as football only and then joining the Big East and everything else, but I don't know if every other school would be willing or able to do that.
I will say that they are not. My guess is that they're not going to look back at this moment and say, oh, we should have jumped, we should have made a move, because if the big reorganization comes in 2030 or 2031, then they'll find their spot after that. Everything would be shaken up. No sense in creating those kind of travel and logistical headaches unless you don't have to. Good call. All right. Coming up on the other side, more of your questions and our answers, including what's the Mount Rushmore of week 0 moments. All that and more next.
Get ready.
Wait a second. I thought we were going tubing.
All 3 Sonic the Hedgehog movies and Knuckles are now streaming on Paramount Plus.
And everyone loves it.
Every adventure.
Just try to keep up.
Every face-off.
This ends now.
And every moment that will have you saying,
Where have you been? My entire life!
It's showtime!
all 3 Sonic the Hedgehog movies and the entire Sonic universe are now streaming on Paramount Plus.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast, when we get a chance to hear from you, it is always fun. And this time we need to go on down into the mailroom. June turns to July. Before you know it, we've got media days. We've got win totals coming. So we got to make sure that we are cleaning out the big old bag of mail. This one comes from Apple username AR Sondag. This is by far the best podcast out there for football. I'm on the road every day for work and extremely thankful for the regular podcast, including summer school. How do you feel about the week 0 game in Ireland? If I was going to have a neutral site game for Farmageddon, I'd prefer it be in Arrowhead where it's more accessible to fans. What do you feel about the week 0 game in Ireland? The Aer Lingus Classic. Do you adore it? Do you find it a little over the top? How do you feel about week 0? Let's do a vibe check on week 0 as a piece of college football.
Love week 0. Believe it should be week 1. As far as the Ireland games, I could care less. I don't like having a actual rivalry game being played overseas. Like if you're going to do it, have it be like a non-conference game, like we've seen with Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, like that kind of stuff. Or we've seen ACC games who did Georgia Tech play?
Florida State.
Yeah, Nebraska losing to Northwestern. Who could forget how that went for Scott Frost? But yeah, I don't like it being conference games. It should just be a non-conference game if you're going to do it. But if they didn't do it, like if we stopped playing in Ireland, you wouldn't see me, shed a tear.
I think the question is right. I think it puts a significant, it's expensive. If you really want to watch your team travel, it's hard to do it in a conference game, a rivalry game at that. I think it puts a stress on them. Now, if you got it like that, I think it's great because you can go bring your golf clubs. You can go drink some Guinness. If you can just take a week off from work and go and wrap it around a college football game, I think it's awesome. Everybody I talked to that's been Florida State fans, aside from the game after the first drive, had a blast. I know when Brady Quinn went with Notre Dame, I know they had a blast. I think it's really a cool experience, but to have it on I get it from the fans' perspective. Now, Tom, you said something interesting about you think all games should be week 1. Have you seen this movement and discussion to potentially week 0 becomes week 1? Mm-hmm. Would you be against that or would you be okay with that?
Wow. We got a new chip in the house. Danny did not read my new college football playoff proposal because in that proposal, I talk about how I would start the season earlier overall, period. Like week 0 would be week 1. And then week 0 would be the week before that.
Oh, wait. So you're going even another week earlier? So you're having a new week 0?
My schedule had
one. Just make it week -1.
My schedule has the regular season ending before the week of Thanksgiving.
The week 1. So your regular season is ending 1 week early.
Yeah, it ends before Thanksgiving, gives the players Thanksgiving off, and then the bowl season and the playoff starts in that first week of December.
See, I've bookmarked all your articles.
New Year's.
I've bookmarked all your articles for the summer vacation, which we're going on July 4th. So I'm ready to read all those.
I hope you're ready for my Big Ten best case scenarios. That comes out tomorrow on CBSSports.com.
Bookmarked for the beach. The only problem is I think what I've seen from the push to move week 0 just be the start of the season is getting extra buys, like having every year have 2 buys for every team and taking that load off. You still have it in there? They can still have the time off?
They get 3 buys in mine.
Ooh.
And my argument is networks want to start on Labor Day weekend because it's Labor Day weekend, but you could still have Labor Day weekend. It's just not the first week of the season. You'll still get that full kind of week of it. And with the extra buys, you can still have teams playing on that Sunday and that Monday because they could take the buys. But mine is just, and then also I've seen arguments like, but it's super hot in mid-August. And it's like, yeah, and it's also still hot in late August. What's the difference? Like a degree and a half? So I think that my whole point is just the season is over earlier, and then the playoff is over before the NFL playoffs start. And I think for television ratings wise, that's probably where you want to be.
Also, I think the opportunity to really gain some traction with NFL fans who might be more casual college football fans, to draw them in. Everybody hates the NFL preseason. Nobody wants to watch it. I think that could be a huge opportunity to kind of lure some people on, into the storyline, some of the players, and get them ahead of time. I ultimately do think they do this. Remember week 0 used to be a really insignificant game. It was like somebody traveling to Australia against a, FCS or, they were blowing them out by 3 touchdowns. You're getting more premier matchups. And I think the broadcast companies are seeing opportunity, which I would too. You get better matchups and a full slate. And I agree with you. Labor Day can still be a massive weekend from Thursday to Monday. Why does that have to change? If anything, it kind of garners more momentum for that, and probably better quality of play if you've got a couple games or a game under your belt.
It is a entirely recent phenomenon in terms of, I remember Stanford playing in Australia in 2016 or 2017.
That's the game I remember. I think was it Hawaii they played?
That sounds absolutely correct.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the same night as a big fight.
Yeah.
McGregor, who? When did McGregor box?
Oh, Mayweather?
Was it Mayweather McGregor in 20?
That's the only time McGregor's ever boxed, right?
I guess
and
so.
That was wow, what a wonderful fight that was. Really one of the all-time greats. It's what it revived the sport.
And I remember it because it was going on as I was watching Stanford play football in Australia. Yes. It was 2017. That fight was going on, or 2016, 2017. That fight was going on in August.
God,
so what's been good about week 0? What are some moments that you remember fondly? I understand, Danny, as you mentioned, you can say the first drive.
Yeah, it was awesome. We're back, baby. We're back. But that game as a whole, being able to separate from that was a game that came down to the wire and was a pretty fun game. The Nebraska Northwestern game was unbelievable. That one stands out. But to listen, the games that stand out to us are conference games, which are kind of because they mean more.
Right.
Yeah, because it was that is the one thing that stands out to me from week 0 game, is that Nebraska lost because of the situation with Scott Frost. And since that was the big game of the weekend, it was all anybody was talking about. And then as time went on, that Northwestern team finished the season with a record of 1-11.
And they had no wins and on domestic soil.
No, they international superstars.
Well, I remember you weren't going to beat Fitz in Ireland. That's just come on. I don't even know why anybody
an Irish cop in Ireland. Good luck.
Yeah, come on. We will have Stanford Hawaii. Speaking of that matchup is going to be on CBS this year, week 0. So after we get done with Kansas State and Iowa State in Farmageddon, that'll be obviously earlier in the day. And then we will pivot on. There'll be a primetime matchup as the Frank Reich era really gets going there in Palo Alto.
Can you call something that's going to last 4 months an era?
Yeah, I think that's it. It is iconic. It's an iconic era. That's an icon that they have right there.
What if they get hot?
Don't let Stanford get hot.
All right, let's keep it rocking and rolling. This one is again from the big old bag of mail. We get this a lot right now, and I am more than happy to be able to offer our services. We can't get to them all, but I think that our friend right here did it. He made his username "Don't change ends between overtimes." That would be a great way to save time in terms of getting these overtimes done. Best college football pod out there. To all those who don't listen, bless your heart. Mailbag. I'm planning a vacation this year built around college football. We're kicking off with Oregon at Penn State and ending with South Carolina at LSU. Now, the Saturday in between is free. That is Saturday, October 4th. I will be with my wife, who is a college football fan and will enjoy the atmosphere, but also would appreciate a day out in a nice college town. What's the move? And we've got the options for you right here. Texas at Florida, Miami at Florida State, Kentucky at Georgia, Vanderbilt at Alabama, Wisconsin at Michigan, Clemson at North Carolina, Michigan State at Nebraska, Boise State at Notre Dame, Kansas State at Baylor, Oregon State at App State.
That's so easy.
Illinois at Purdue's not even an option, huh? Wow.
What bucket is that for? Or what oak milk?
Illinois, that's for the Purdue Cannon. Scott, it's a rivalry game, and you're just disrespecting it. I know.
Cannon is a upper half Big Ten rivalry trophy.
Do you not remember that game last year? It was like 55-52. Why would you not want to go to that game? Want to go watch Kentucky get the crap beat out of them by Georgia instead? Go for it.
That was almost North Carolina's starting quarterback in that game. Went off. And where did he go now? Yeah, is he back there? Did he go back? Where did he go? That's what I thought. That's what I meant. Did he go back to Purdue? I thought so. This is easy. I mean, come on. There's one.
Are you going to go to Tallahassee? You think Miami?
Yeah. I mean, if he's just looking to experience college football, to have one of the greatest rivalries in the history of sports, see the best pregame tradition that's out there, to see the best fan base out there doing the tomahawk chop the whole entire game, there is no other choice. This is easy. Plus, if he hits me up, I'll hook him up at a couple restaurants down there. We'll make sure he's taken care of.
Oh, okay.
I'll show him that Southern hospitality.
I think as far like if you want to go to a game with stakes, I'm guessing the biggest stakes of the weekend will be that Texas-Florida game. But I don't know if that'll be a good game. But if it has stakes, then Florida's probably been pretty good. So it'd probably be a good game. So yeah, there you go. Texas at Florida.
And this is kind of awesome. He's starting in Happy Valley with Oregon at Penn State. Place is going to be absolutely bananas. Finishing with South Carolina at LSU. I think that's going to an LSU home game and a game that you're pretty sure LSU is going to win means you hopefully avoid the toxic negativity Baton Rouge. You can just get a nice celebratory environment. So he's got the Big Ten. He's got the SEC. I don't know, Tom. A little stop in the ACC might be the move.
Okay. There's a decent chance. I don't know if they've done the schedule yet. There's a decent chance that since the Texas-Florida game will be on ESPN because it's an SEC game, that is the primetime game of the week. If Miami and Florida, they put early, like you say, that's the noon game, go to the Florida State-Miami game. It's only a 2.5-hour drive. Go to Gainesville and then go to Florida, Texas at night. So their possibility exists for that. So definitely pick one of those games because then you're giving yourself the possibility of a doubleheader. That's a road trip. You said you're going on a road trip. Do it in one day.
Gainesville is a college town. What would you say? Give me
a better college. We're a better college town than Gainesville. It's not even close.
Okay, but is Gainesville good?
Building in Tallahassee. They don't have that in Gainesville.
Yeah, better looking women.
Is Gainesville good? I guess does it have a good?
Oh, it would be great. Yeah, okay. It would be great. Yeah, either one of those you couldn't go wrong. And if you could also wait and see and make a last minute call, see which game looks better. Because it may not be that great of a game, either one. You could have some of these seasons not unfold the way you want to. So you kind of wait and see and go to the better game.
Our friend Grant, who had an absolute banger earlier saying that I should stop calling it the Frank Reich era, just not using just better word choice there. Yeah. Grant's on it. Nobody can hold us accountable like our diehards right there.
That's a great idea. If Stanford is winning games early, I'm gonna we're gonna print up Fourth Reich T-shirts. And
Grant says it's guaranteed to be the noon ABC game. That feels right.
Come on.
What do you mean, hey?
Hey, noon is the prime time slot. That's where all Ohio State games are.
That is true.
Just ask their fans; they love it.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you're building out, if they're building out the day and they know that they've got 3:30 and probably 7:30 spoken for, time slot champs are going to go in that really big window. But that's okay, Danny, because then it helps your ratings bonus on the ACC.
That's right.
That
is true. That is
you got to sweat through it, but you at least get your ratings bonus.
Ohio State's hosting Minnesota that day. If it's on at noon, it'll be on Big Ten Network.
Yeah, I think that I think our friend is going to be. It's got to be one of those two, and that would fit too. If he's, I don't know exactly his travel. Like I couldn't send him from Happy Valley to Lincoln, Nebraska, all the way back down to Baton Rouge. Makes a little bit more sense and should be nice that time of year all around October.
That's my birthday weekend, by the way. So
happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
Also love to see this Noise Water.
Yes.
Chester.
Let's go. That was
Our
great.
unknown soldier.
That's right.
Thank you for just loving the sport.
Yep.
Yes. Thank you for loving the sport. We appreciate that. Danny, you're going to love this. This is going to be our new hard-hitting journalism. We don't want to have any fluff, okay? You're just cutting right to it.
Okay.
Hey, Tom, any new college football playoff news?
No.
That concludes our college football playoff meetings update. We will bring you the hard-hitting updates for the college football playoff whenever we get them. We still are looking forward to Brandon Marcello's review of which of these fine establishments has the best meals.
Hold up, I'm getting breaking news.
The halibut
College
at
football
Biltmore?
playoff news. There could be developments at some point in time.
Ooh. And they need to set another meeting to make sure those developments
They're going to have dinner tonight at a nice steak joint to discuss when to set the next meeting. This one will be on the Big 12. They're taking turns. Brett Yormark clearly kissing ass, trying to get some more of those AQs for the Big 12. He's buying dinner tonight.
Maybe a little golf. A little golf out there.
It's getting a little crazy, right? I mean, you know what? Actually, forget everything we've talked about. It's just we'll go back to square one and meet up again in another couple of months.
We got till December 1st.
It's nothing more college football than just talking in circles for an entire offseason.
Unbelievable.
And then doing nothing.
I mean, did you do the radio show last week?
No.
Okay. So it was one of those things where we were sitting there and we're waiting, and I mean, the flowing prose coming from our stellar writers told us how much time they were spending just like waiting for these meetings to come out and then finding out nothing. The conference commissioners aren't talking. A few power players might give you an idea, but all the ideas we're getting are that there's no ideas, and we've actually had negative progress on it. I mean, I'm putting college football playoff updates in the corner. We're just doing one word updates from here on out until you come with something concrete.
Shout out to Ross Dellinger. I know he listens. Big fan of the show. Big fan. That lead you wrote last week was terrific. It was absolutely wonderful. And I was sitting there like, that is a man who knows how to write and also had like 5 hours just to kill, sitting in the lobby waiting for something to happen.
It was like in the Biltmore Village, as it is positioned between the Pigsaw Mountain and the Blue Hills. Just like the two titans of college football, the Big Ten and the SEC, decisions may or may not be made.
Can these men move mountains? It was absolutely
wonderful.
It was awesome. I was loving it.
It was well written, but it was like, okay.
Poor Ross. He was sitting in a lobby staring out a window for a long time.
No, it's I think we're putting that to the side, especially when Executive Director Rich Clark just said, "Yeah, we just have to make a decision before December 1st."
Yeah, no rush.
And keep that in mind for all these meetings that they will have before December 1st, because you know when they're going to tell you what the change is? On November 30th is when you'll get the leak from like Brett McMurphy or somebody, and that's when they will announce the changes.
Yeah, we'll get Brandon and maybe John Talty too to help us review the halibut sandwich. Like all the nice cuisine offerings that they have. But college football playoff, nothing new on the horizon anytime soon that we can see. All right. On Wednesday, our friend, colleague, and co-host Bud Elliott, he'll be back. He spent all weekend at Elite 11, gave us a couple updates when he was out in Los Angeles. He will return. Also, I'm going to say this, just like I said it last week, Spotify comments. We love the growing audience that we have on Spotify. We want to be able to reward you with a chance to get in the conversation. Thursday, we'll be dipping into the Spotify comments to be able to get a new room for the big old bag of mail. We look forward to doing that. So Wednesday, Elite 11. Thursday, more from the big old bag of mail. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fornelli. You can follow him at Danny Kanell. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
See ya.